Well, greetings, entrepreneurs and my chat tribe. I want to welcome you to another episode of Heal and Thrive Business Hub. And this is where I give content out for entrepreneurs as well as women who are entrepreneurs in the digital space. They're trying to grow their business. And I also give tips and encouragement on healing from toxic relationships, how to overcome them so they don't affect your business. So in today's video, today's podcast, I'm going to be talking about how to basically overcome challenges by building a mindset that helps you to overcome and prepare for business challenges as well as relationship challenges, because we all sometimes experience in our life challenges that come with being in business as well as challenges that come with being in relationships. And if we've ever been in relationships where we have been betrayed or abandoned or just abused, then that can again spill over into our business, and we don't want it to affect our business and our livelihood. So if that's something you are wanting to partake in and listen, then go ahead and grab your beverage today as well. I'm having coffee, conversations over coffee if you're on my YouTube platform. So I'm just having some iced coffee this morning, but you can go ahead and grab whatever beverage you like. Today's podcast is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to be coming from two aspects of challenges. I'm going to be coming from the aspect of building mental clarity for the business, as well as building that mental clarity if you've been in a relationship that has gone south. So if that's something you are interested in, please continue to watch. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to deal and talk about as far as the business side is how do we build that mental strength, that mental clarity for going into business? Because I think a lot of times when we come on social media, we'll see so many people and it's like they're killing it. It looks like it's effortless. It looks like, they have all this engagement. People are commenting, people are liking and sharing. And then sometimes when we come on, especially if we're just getting our feet wet or we're a little apprehensive about coming on our platform, then we can sometimes, self-sabotage. We can compare ourselves to how other people are, showing up in that space. And let me say this. When I first came out on social media, I didn't come out like confident like this. I didn't come out like sure of myself. I had to keep stopping the camera, starting over, until I felt like, okay, Michelle, you're talking to the people, but right now nobody's in the room with you. You're basically looking at the camera and you're talking to yourself. So the way I tell people to get comfortable being in front of the camera, just, in your mind, even though you know that you're talking and you want to talk to your target audience, to that collective group of people, your tribe. But in the beginning, in order to make it come off without you feeling nervous and feeling like overwhelmed about the process, what you can do is start acting like you're talking to your friend. Like maybe you're just sitting and you're having a cup of coffee, or you're just having a conversation with a friend, but you're giving out this information to your friend. So that way it puts it in your mind that, this is a relaxed conversation. I don't need to be overwhelmed about it. I don't need to feel as though that, she's gonna judge me or he's gonna judge me based on the conversation, because you're comfortable with that person. So sometimes you may have to, just get into your groove and, get comfortable with being in front of the camera until you find that sweet spot and you can go ahead. But let me explain something to you. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. There's times where I will sit here, get ready to record something and forget the title and forget the point and forget what was I saying, or what was the thought I wanted to bring up? And then I sit here, forget, and I'm trying to remember it and be like, oh God, what was it? And so I'm just like, you know what? Instead of me going through all that, let me just print out my notes so this way I can capture everything that I need to capture within that segment. Because the thing about it, you have to do what feels good for you. You have to do what feels authentic to you. Some people, they want to show a little bit more professionalism. They have the, what they call that thing that scrolls on the, like a prompter that scrolls so it doesn't like you're reading from the paper. I don't care. People know I'm reading from a paper, because in order for me to get out the content that I want, and sometimes in the middle of giving out that content, another thought will come that is, that is what related to that, that content. So if I'm doing it by a prompter, then hey, I got to stop the prompter, because now it's another good thought that came that carries more insight and information into what I just said. So I think when we show up, or you show up as your authentic self, there's nothing that you need to hide. You come across how you want to come across, and that's really the goal of it. You're giving out information, and regardless of how you give it out, if the information is good, people are going to listen, right? So let me get to the first part of building strength for business, or building mental strength for business. So the first thing is a growth mindset. And I talked about this so much. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about developing a growth mindset. Like, you have to have a mindset that is conducive to move you to the place where you need to be in your life. It can't be every time that you come across a challenge, you feel, we may feel the feelings of being overwhelmed, but when you start feeling overwhelmed, that means you need to take a step back and see, have you put too much on your plate? Are you over promising certain things because you just have this thing that you don't want to say no to people? You feel as though saying no makes people don't like you, or make people, feel some type of way about you. Like, no is a complete sentence. Like, you don't have to basically say no and then give an explanation why you said no. If you can't do it, just say, I'm sorry, but at this time I can't do it. Or, I'm sorry, at this time, I'm not, my schedule is booked. Or not even going to a schedule is booked, because that's still giving an explanation. It's just to say, I'm sorry, at this time I cannot do it, and just leave it at that. And either they're good with it or they're not. And it's really not up to you, because once you have given a response, you have to learn to feel good with that response that you have given. And if not, for my people on Conversations Over Coffee, we need to start journaling. When we start feeling certain things that don't feel right within us, because we have been in a space where we grew up people pleasing people, and now when we say no, we feel like, oh, they're not gonna like me, oh, they're gonna not call me anymore, or they're gonna feel some type of way about me. That's them. You have to do things that's gonna give you peace at the end of the day. You're gonna have to do things that make you feel comfortable in your own skin. And if you start doing things for people and then complain about you doing them, then guess what? You didn't do it with grace. You didn't do it because you wanted to do it. You did it for an outcome of them liking you. You did it for an outcome for them to basically, be someone who's going to, say good things about you. But you have to come to the conclusion to say, listen, if I'm a person in business, I'm a leader. And as a leader, I have to understand, at times in my business, I may be able to collaborate with somebody. I may be able to help somebody. But when there comes a time where people are grabbing at you and they're trying to, pull you in different directions, you have to stand up and say, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't do that. This is not a good time right now. And stand on that, and not feel any type of emotion, even if they get emotional about you saying no. And if this is something you've done in the past, but you're trying to break that with people, you have to let them know, if this was some place that I operated in the past, then I have to understand that that's not comfortable for me anymore, because I know now that I was seeking other people's approval. I was seeking approval for certain things. And now that I'm not seeking anybody's approval but my own, I don't need that. So if you get upset with me because I am growing, then that's your problem, not mine, right? So that's the first thing, developing a growth mindset. And the second part is practice self-compassion. You have to have compassion for yourself, because starting a business is very challenging, especially if you are a solopreneur and you are doing things all by yourself. You don't have no help. You're the marketer, you are the website designer, you are the graphic designer. You're doing everything. So you have to give yourself some compassion, even when you are planning your content, putting out your content, and just doing so many things. You have to give yourself some grace and understand that it's a process. So many people, rush to get to that bottom line of, oh, I just want to make 6-7 figures and, whatever. It's good to have that goal, but understand that there's a process to get to that goal. And if your whole outlook is just, oh, I just got to get to this goal, but you deny and you don't like the process of going through. And really what the process is you're learning. And this is what I tell entrepreneurs. I basically say to them, when you are doing any type of creating content or writing out your plan, get a book like Conversations Over Coffee. It's a journal, but I'm just saying that to throw that in, because I also have Conversations Over Coffee mug and a t-shirt. So if you want to support the channel, everything will be linked in the description so you can do so. But what I'm saying, you know, get a book, go to the dollar store and get you like a notebook. And what you start doing is start writing down your process of everything that you're doing. I do it in the notebook because God forbid if something happens to the internet crashes, or I lose information, at least I have that process in my book. So this way I can go back to that process and understand what I needed to do in order to get that result. But if I basically don't have a process and then something works out in my favor where, you know, I did something that brought me in these many clients, but then I forget the process that I did to do that, or the blueprint that I did to do that, then now I don't know how to recreate that. So the best thing that you can do when it comes to like building your business, make sure that you have some type of process in place. Make sure that you know exactly how each process works in your business when it comes to content creation, email marketing, you know, creating blog posts, creating podcasts. Like what are the key things that you need to do to execute that blog post being from start to finish? And when you do that, you create not only a blueprint, but you create even a training, onboarding training, that when somebody else comes in and you want to, you know, delegate that to someone else, then now they have a blueprint in place in order to follow. So that's also a good reason why you need to write down your systems and processes, because now you can make a training out of that. And it can even help other entrepreneurs. You can even offer it as an incentive, or put it in as a bonus if you're creating courses, to show them the process of how to create this, so they don't have to keep being overwhelmed to sit here and train somebody for 2-3 hours, where you can just record the process and it's one and it's done, right? So the next thing is develop a strong support network. Like comes a time where you're gonna have to have a network of people, a group of people where you can bounce ideas off of. You can basically, you know, showcase, you know, maybe you're doing a logo or a website design and you want to get feedback to let, you know, to ask questions. Is this something that people will gravitate to, or what logo looks better, or what font looks better, or what the color scheme is? So this way, I mean, there's so many different Facebook groups that you can join that will help support you and help build that community that you would need. Because in order for you to grow a business, you know, you need community. I mean, sometimes, you know, we entrepreneurs, especially if you're an introvert like me, you know, it's hard to sometimes get, you know, with other people, because we feel as though, like, I don't know what to say. I'm just so used to my own space, my own, you know, my own company. But then it comes a time, like if we're growing a business means that we're going to come in contact with other people. So we have to really get kind of comfortable with that. So this way we don't know what collaboration can come to us that we can now really set our business up for success. So I hope that helps you. So the next one is stress management techniques. Like stress management techniques, I don't think a lot of people talk about that, because what we see within the social media landscape is like, you know, hustle, like, you know, work, you know, and I'm on my grind. And the thing about it, it's good to be on your grind. It's good to be about your business. But once you get stressed out, like, if I know that I'm having a day where mentally I can't really like think about certain things I need to do, I'm just all over the place, then that's a day I'm just taking off. That's a day, because I don't have the mental capacity at that time to basically have that creativity flowing in order for me to do something. So what I'll do is I'll do something that I'll enjoy. Maybe go to the gym and work out. Maybe I'll go on my laptop and play my game or listen to music, something that gets me out of that mindset of always having to think about what's the next step. So what I'll do is I'll just take that day off, because I know I'm not mentally there to really go in. And the thing that happens if I try to push myself to do something that I know my brain is not ain't ready to do, then I'm like almost doing the same thing over. Like I can be in Canva and I'm like, wait a minute, what did I do? And I'm sitting in Canva for something that will only take me 15 minutes. Now I'm in Canva for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I'm still like not even finished the process. So then it says, okay, You need to like shut this down and go and do something totally different from this so you can manage that stress. Sometimes it's just going for a walk. Sometimes it could be maybe talking to a friend or doing something that you like to do. It could even come in the form of taking a damn nap. Yes, I said that. Taking a nap. Sometimes we're so burnt and we're burning the candle both ends of the stick that we don't even understand that sometimes rest is the best medicine to help you really gain that clarity. You wake up, you're refreshed. Now you have all these ideas. You can basically go and execute at a higher level than you can when you're not feeling it that day. So I hope that helps you. And the next one is set realistic goals. And I think I talked about this in my last podcast last week, and I think it was on the 10 daily, was it the 10 habits? The 10 daily habits of a successful entrepreneur. I know one of the podcasts I was talking about setting goals, setting realistic goals, and that comes with SMART goals, making sure that it is a specific goal, it is measured, it is timely. You are able to, do it within a certain time frame. So if you don't set a goal, then how will you know you reached it? And going back to that, documenting process of having a blueprint in place. When you set a goal, you basically setting a goal, and even if you don't reach that goal, but then you can go back and see, well, what are the steps that I needed to do, or maybe certain things I didn't do that I can now add to make that goal more reachable. Even if I didn't meet it at that time, I can basically say, okay, well, let's try in the next 90 days to see if we can meet this goal or get close to it, right? Or maybe even exceed it, right? So the next one is learn and accept and adapt to change. And that is so key. As we are just humans, life changes, things that we have to adapt to. As far as in business, we know these platforms change. We know the algorithms change. I mean, I hear people talking about that they would, and these are influencers who have like hundreds of thousands of followers, but then they would go in and check their numbers and realize maybe 10,000 people, not to say that they unfollowed, but something happened with the platform where they lost a lot of subscribers or followers. And I always tell people, make sure that your content is backed up. If you have a removable device, I have a removable device that whenever I record, certain videos to free up space on my computer, I make sure that I take it off, especially if it's something that I want to go back in and use at a later date, maybe splice it up to make different little reels from it or whatever, then I'll go and I'll do that. But make sure that you are backing up and taking off certain things off your computer to free up space. Make sure that, even though I hear a lot of people talk about, websites are dead and things of that nature, but God forbid, if something happens to your social media platforms where you have millions of followers, and just like we had that glitch that happened a couple of weeks ago, I think last month, that glitch happened with the internet when every system was down. But if that happens and your social media gets wiped out and now you have 0 followers or maybe hundreds of thousands of followers less than you had, then where can they find you at? Like, how can you come back and let them know, well, if something happens to me on this platform, you can always reach me at my website, right? Because your hosting company and them, they have backups of your website information of your content. If something happens to my content on my website, all I have to do is go to my hosting company and basically they'll back it up to the last backup that I had on there. So it's always a protection there. So this way they make sure that certain things don't happen. So you have to be proactive in that, even though these platforms are, for the most part, we would say free, but it's really not free, because the more traction that you get on your social media, what I would say, then yeah, the algorithm does put you up. But when you start really getting into ad spend, that's when you really start seeing your numbers change, because the platforms want you to pay to play. If you want to get seen by more of your audience, you need to basically start putting out ads, or either start building that community where you create content that's shareable, where you start telling your audience, like, share this, like, I mean, come up with some type of incentive for them sharing it. Have some type of way where now it's going to increase your views, it's going to increase your followers, and it's going to eventually increase your bottom line once you put out that offer, right? So let me go to the next one. And so the next tip is maintain a healthy work-life balance. Again, you can't just work all the time and not have time for yourself. And that comes back with, having self-compassion and also setting goals. You have to, just like you want to come in and do that work, you have to also make sure that you have balance with doing things that naturally you love to do. Like, I love to go out to the park. I love to go to museums. I love to just do things that maybe I, haven't done before. I want to go into like do a painting class. I want to do a pottery class. So I'm going to be looking out for those come fall, because right now just going out in the heat is just too much for me. If I don't have to go, I don't want to go. But that's something that I want to do, because it's going to just add more, substance to my life. And then you never know who you may meet at these places. Go to eventbrite.com and look in your area for free events, low-cost events, and you'll be surprised at different places that you can find and different events that you can find that where you'll meet people. I mean, if we never go and step out, then how can we expect to really expand our business? How can we really expect to basically, get to where we want to be? We have to build up that mental strength, that mental capacity, because you're a leader. A leader is not afraid. Let me say this. Being an entrepreneur, period, means that you are a risk taker, right? Because entrepreneurship is not an easy task. And the thing that I tell people, because I know a lot of us entrepreneurs, we want to go full time. We want to just let the business sustain us, support our lifestyle. But until you get to that point to where your business is thriving, the money is coming in, you're seeing the numbers grow, and maybe you had, another job and you're just wondering, like, should I quit it? Should I get another job? Let me say this. I call my other job my private investor. And why do I say that? Because it is basically funding the business for what I needed to do until I'm saying, okay, I'm at the point in my life, in my business, where I don't have to go to a 9 to 5 or whatever that looks like in order for me to have other income coming in. And then another key point is when you start, working, maybe you have another private investor, start getting into investing. Even if it's low cost investing, start doing some type of investing that's building up your portfolio, because you want to have multiple streams of income coming in, right? So with that being said, let me just go to the last one, which really is basically all of what I just explained. So we're going to do what? Build mental strength. We're going to have a growth mindset. We're going to practice compassion. We're going to develop a strong networking, right? Community. We're going to cultivate stress management, because that's very important. And we're going to set realistic goals, right? And we're going to maintain a healthy work-life balance. So with that being said, now I want to transition to the other part of this podcast that's talking about building mental strength when after you've gone through maybe some type of betrayal within a relationship. Because I always say this, as individuals, as humans, I'm sure that there are, a lot of women and men that are in relationships. And if your relationship isn't going the way that you want it to go, and you're just basically putting up with things because you feel as though you have no other options, or that you just feel as though there is, maybe you just been in it too long and you just tired, you don't want to, start over again, then you really need to question that. You really need to understand, why are you sacrificing your happiness just for, I wouldn't even know what to call it, just to be in a space where you really don't need to be. So what I want to really come across, and I'm trying to find my notes for that. So just find my notes and just pop back in. Okay, so I'm going to have to look at my computer, because my notes is on my computer. And I really just don't want to go and print it out, right? So the first thing is, if you've been in a relationship and say there has been betrayal, there has been mistrust, there have been abandonment issues, and now you are dealing with the aftermath of that. And let me just say this. First of all, I was listening to a live yesterday, and I think her name was Elizabeth Olsen, right? And just phenomenal woman, right? And she wrote the book Video Vixen, if you want to put that name to that, even though her other name, Corinne Steffens, is her pen name, but her real name is Elizabeth Olsen. I hope I'm saying her last name correctly, but forgive me if I'm not. And somebody asked her a question, and they say, how do you deal with betrayal? Or how do you handle betrayal? And I love her response to that question, because she said, basically, you don't. Because a lot of times when we think or we feel that a person has betrayed us, and what she said is, well, they haven't betrayed you, they betrayed themselves. She said, really, the betrayal is on them. It shows a lack of integrity. It shows a lack of their character. So really, what a person has done, even though they may be in a relationship with you, but when you find out about it, the betrayal was not against you, it was against themselves, because they lowered their standard in order to either sabotage the relationship, to make somebody else think they were not in one. And really, even though when you find out, you can feel the effects of that, but we have to understand what people do. You're not responsible for what a person does. You're only responsible for how you respond to it, right? And the thing about it, what I see a lot of women doing is, a lot of women they get hurt, they get upset, they get angry over the betrayal, but a lot of times they end up dealing and maybe going back with the person because they feel as though maybe this is the only, maybe they put up this fantasy in their mind that, well, this is all that, I can deal with right now, or maybe this is all what's presented, or maybe they've gotten to the point where they love the person because they feel that they're getting some benefit out of the relationship, and they feel as though that is what they desire, even though it's not what they desire. The cheating part, they don't desire the betrayal part, but there is some parts of the relationship where they were feeling, as far as it was giving them some type of dopamine hit. And when I say dopamine hit, we women, we get dopamine hits when we're love bombed. When a person tells us they love us and they continue to just pour it on thick, we love that because it evokes some type of emotion in us. It evokes some type of response where we feel all those endorphins, and we feel, that femininity coming out, and we just, we love that. And some men know how to be very charming. They know how to do that. And when you get to the point where that has been in your brain and in your system, and now you're feeling like, now this thing has presented itself, how am I going to show up now? Because I'm going to be missing that hit. I'm going to be missing. And that's just like if you look at somebody that's on drugs or somebody that's using alcohol. They use it for that hit. They use it for that euphoria, that feeling. But once now the truth is presented to them, okay, now where am I going to get that euphoria from? Where am I going to get that feeling from? Where am I going to get that hit from? And if you're a woman of substance, if you're a woman who says, that's a deal breaker for me, I'm not putting up with that. I don't care how much I love you. I don't care how much time we have spent together. For me, I value myself enough to know that, yeah, I'm going to go through this pain. I'm going to go through this, this place of now discovering that you really weren't who you portrayed yourself to be, and now I have to deal with the aftermath of that. But it speaks a lot to you, because now those words that you craved from that other person, now you have to give them to yourself. Those words that you wanted another person to say to you, that made you feel good, that made you feel loved in the moment, that made you feel secure in the moment. But then sometimes we have to ask ourselves as women, were there other things within this relationship that gave me cause for pause, but because I wanted it to be this thing or this fantasy I had in my head or this future that I thought we would have together is the reason why I hung on so long? I knew that there was something going on, but I just didn't know. I just couldn't put my finger on it, but you knew some kind of way. Even sometimes we as women, we compromise, because sometimes we allow a person to cross boundaries that we feel as though, because maybe we like the way they look, we like the way they dress, we like the way they talk to us, we like the way they make us feel, we like the way that, you know, they are, you know, sexual with us. And that's just to be straight up, because especially if you have had intimate, you know, relations with this person, that is such a hard thing to break, because now that emotion is there, that connection is there, and it's like even harder to break than if it's just a talking relationship where you are just been talking for some time now. But when there is a physical connection there, when you have been intimate with that person, it's even harder, because now your brain goes to that feeling of how they loved on you, how they treated you in the bedroom, and all of those things. So if we're not in that place of really understanding who we are as women, how powerful we are as women. And when you send a statement to somebody to say, no matter how much I love you, no matter how much I wanted this to be something that we could like ride off into the sunset with, I am not going to lower my standard because you lowered yours. Let me say that again. I am not going to lower my standard and give you another chance when you lowered yours. Because the bottom line is, a lot of men would not, maybe some, but a lot of men that would not put up with a woman if they found out that you were unfaithful to them. That is just like the ultimate, like, oh, hell no, I know you wasn't around my back, you know, messing with this dude, and now you want me to forgive you. Like, it will always play in their mind. And I'm not saying that people can't heal from betrayal. I'm not saying that people can't recover from that, because there have people who have been recovered from that. But it takes going to therapy. It takes going to counseling. It takes for that person to work on themselves. And when we look at how many women have been betrayed, and I was on the internet the other day, and it was talking about how these different celebrities, women celebrities, got cheated on. And these beautiful women, beautiful women. So we can't say that beautiful women don't get cheated on, right? Beautiful women get cheated on all the time. But what we have to understand, it's never about the woman, that the reason why she got cheated on. It's always about the man, especially if he's the one cheating. And I don't care, even if we come to the narrative to say, well, the reason why he went out because he was not getting what he needed at home, and the reason why he stepped out is because she changed how she looked, or she changed her appearance, or she stopped doing the things that she did in the beginning of the relationship. Now, let's say all that is true, right? But a man with integrity, a woman, let's even put it to with a woman with integrity, because we can say both sides, right? Anyone who has integrity, regardless of how the relationship is going, whether people have checked out or whatever, they're going to find a way to try to fix that. They're going to try to find a way, like, let's go to counseling. Let's try to do things. And I can go, maybe I'll just go here for a minute. With my ex, my husband, because in my marriage, 23 years of just narcissistic abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. And even in that time frame, I started noticing he was not grooming himself, he wasn't shaving, he wasn't just doing certain things with his appearance. And I'm not going to sit here and just go out and just be with somebody else. No, I'm going to say, this is what you need to do. Like let's go to counseling. Even if he didn't want to go to counseling, I would go on the internet and I would find books on counseling about husband and wife and how to bring that connection back, how to bring that spark back. But the thing about it, if two people are not willing to do it, then be adult enough to say, listen, I'm trying to work this situation out. I'm trying to basically get us back on track, and you're checking out. And I'm going to let you know, like, what else is it for me to do? Because if you don't want to basically meet me halfway, then there has to come a point in time where either we're going to go our separate ways, or we're going to basically just end the relationship. But it's never going to come with me stepping out and cheating on you behind your back and make the excuse, oh, because you checked out of the relationship. If you checked out of a relationship, let's make it be known that we're going our separate ways, instead of doing something, to me, just so low vibrational as basically putting yourself out here and really feeling that you're justified in doing that because the other person checked out. No. If you want to be in another relationship with another person, then let that person know and say, you know what, I found someone else, and no harm to you, but I know this may hurt. But be man or woman enough to basically say that, because I believe when a person does things like that, they're cowards, they're insecure, they're stroking their ego, and they're doing all those things. And the thing that they don't realize is they can miss out on good people. They can miss out on good people. They can miss out on good connections. And they can end up regretting what they did, because really, when it's just a sexual thing, there's no gratification in that. It's just like, you want a hamburger, and then you get the hamburger, you full now, and the next minute you want another hamburger, or you want something else. So if you don't have no stability or any type of substance in you, then you have to basically start understanding, where does that come from? And even with women, why are we putting up with people who do us like that? If you're that type of woman who has has dealt with multiple betrayals, if you are that type of woman who have dealt with a man cheating on you multiple times, and in my early 20s, my first son's father, he was that type of man. He would just be out there and always bringing something back. And I'm just saying that to be real with you, because let me let you understand something. You keep staying with these men who are out here messing around with other women, not knowing if they're going to bring you something back that is fatal, that you can't take a pill or a shot for, that you can't take something for it to get rid of it. And because you can say, oh, well, I love them and I'm just trying to ride it out with them, I'm trying to show them, they know you love them. They know you there, and they going to keep you there while they go out and do whatever their mind or their low vibrational energy wants them to do. But in the end, you might be the one suffering from that, So I really hope that kind of sheds some light on that. And I want you to understand, if you are a woman going through that, you're allowed to feel the emotions of anger. You're allowed to feel the emotions of sadness, because this person has led you on. This person has led you to believe that they were there for you, that they were there to build you up and to basically pour into your life, but actually they sabotaged it. But the thing for me is, yeah, I may be hurt in the moment, but really you are going to hurt yourself, because karma is real. Like, people don't understand there is laws in the earth. Just like there's the law of gravity. If you throw something up, it must come down. But when you do something with the intention of hurting another person, when you do something with the intention of being sneaky, if you do something with the intention of hiding and being secretive to good people, to people who only have your best interest, know that that's going to come back. And God forbid, we don't know how the universe is going to bring it back, but trust me, it'll be back. It'll come back around, and then you'll realize, wow, for all the things that I did in my life, I lost out on good people. I lost out on a good connection, a good relationship, a good marriage. And that's something that, people have to live with, but you stand on your ground. And let me say this, because I know sometimes I be hearing things, the saying, well, what if the person who stepped out, what if they come back and they apologize and they are really sincere in wanting to make it work? Like, how do you go from there? Because of course your feelings are still invested. You still love them. You don't love what they did, but you still love the person. And I would say that's on an individual basis, an individual level, because I would basically say they have to build that trust back up with you. And I would say to the woman or man or whoever it is that just don't start back where you left off at. Like, no, it's like we're starting from ground zero. Like, ground zero means you have to prove to me now that, before maybe I've let a couple of things slide by. Now nothing's sliding by. Now I'm able to basically say, this is, how it needs to go. And you have to basically let me and allow me to feel that. You can't tell me if I agree to basically work it out with you. You can't tell me, oh, well, it's been 3 months already. Why you don't trust me yet? No, however long it takes for me to trust you again is how long it takes for me to trust you again. Because basically there was a lot of sneaking, there was a lot of betrayal, there was a lot of hiding. So I don't even know, may not even know how long it went on for. So however long it takes for me to get over that, or for me to basically see a changed person, then that's on me. And again, I'll say that's basically, based on the person and the individual, if they're willing to go through that with you, because you don't know the depth of how you may have hurt that person. You don't know the depth of how you may come across and really caused even more emotional damage from maybe a previous relationship that this person been in. And the most insidious thing is that some men and women know that people that they have gotten involved with, that they have came out of abusive or narcissistic or toxic relationships, for them to go and do the same thing to the person that done told them that they've been through this. So it's like, why would you set me up when you already know what I've been through? To me, that is really a hard pill to swallow. And then you really have to understand, for them to know what you've been through and now to do it to you, is that somebody who you really want to take a chance with again? Because it could be just them wanting you in their life, because now you're something, your energy and your substance brings them maybe peace. It brings them whatever it is that you give to them in that relationship. They don't want to let that go. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to have you, because now you to them are possession. It's like, but I need you in my life. I don't want to lose you. So again, it's a case by case situation, and only you can determine whether that's something that you want to deal with. But what I would say, that you really have to do a lot of deep inner work if that's something that you're willing to put up with. Because my motto is, if I know that I've been through something traumatic and then I'm going through it again, it's like, am I lowering myself? Am I lowering my value to basically allow this person more time and energy in my life? Because now the ball is in my court. I dictate how much energy I want to put into that. It may just be, no, we can't no longer be romantic partners. We can be friends. I can talk to you and say hi and keep it moving. But as far as the romantic thing, no, because you messed that up. And if you mess that up, then you have to deal with, the decisions that you made. So that's what I have to say for that. So the next thing I want to say is seek support. Because if this is something that you're really, going through, and I remember years ago with my, first son's father, it got to the point, like when there was a betrayal there and he stepped out on me, that thing had me like in the bed. Like, when I'm saying it will break you, because like when you pour your heart out to somebody and you give your heart to somebody, and now you realize that they've been intimate with somebody, they've shared, their emotions with somebody that they shared with you. Now that thing is depleting. It's like a gut punch. It's like it takes the breath out of you. So a lot of times we don't know how to deal with that emotionally, because we're just all over the place in our emotions. And I would say, if you have to cry. Call up a friend who's not going to basically go out and spread your business, someone that you can trust, or either find a therapist that you can go and talk to. And again, start understanding, are you seeking, like, the men you are attracting or the women you are attracting? Like, who are these people you're attracting? Because if you're just attracting people to fill voids in you because you've been hurt or abandoned, then basically you're attracting the wrong person, because you should never attract another person just to fill a void in you. When you attract someone, you're attracting them from the basis of the standpoint because you are healed. You're a healed person. You're not a broken person. So you're not attracting another broken person. You're attracting a person that's healed, or either on their healing journey. And a lot of times, even being on our healing journey, especially if you're an empath like myself, what you'll do is a lot of times we'll have this compassion for people that been through the same thing, and we'll share those stories. And sometimes we're basically trauma bonding because of what we've both been through. But I don't want to trauma bond with you. I don't want to go through what we've been through together. No, I want it to be where we are now going someplace in the future. I want it to be where we are now ascending and excelling beyond trauma. We're basically now moving on to success. We're living our lives. We're not going through what we've been through in our past because we're no longer dealing with those issues anymore, because we're healed to the point where we have boundaries in place. We know that we're not going to sabotage ourselves anymore. We're not going to operate in low self-esteem. We're not going to be the type of people that is going to, what I would say, like sacrifice our wants and desires because this person has presented themselves, and this maybe could be the total package that you want. Oh my God, he's tall, or she's beautiful, or, you know, he makes this amount of money, she's, you know, got no kids, or whatever it is that is, you know, your go-to. And now you start seeing yourself, because this is your dream person, you start seeing yourself now saying, oh, well, they don't do this, but I can deal with that for right now. Or well, he doesn't do this, but that's okay, because as time goes on, then he'll change, or time goes on, she'll change. So we start making these little inner concessions within ourselves of what we, even though we want it, but we don't say it for fear that they will reject us, or they'll say, oh, well, never mind, I'll just, you know, deal with somebody else. So we'll deal with that just to have this person in our lives. And is that really what we want? Is that really what you want? Don't you want somebody to want you for you? Don't you want somebody to want your quirkiness, your humor, all the weirdness that you are, of what you make up? Don't you want somebody to just want you for you? Like, why do we have to put on airs and be something who we're not? Like, just be yourself. If you don't like who I am at the core, then you just don't like me. I'm not putting on airs for nobody, because I don't even know how to do that. All I know how to do is be Michelle. I'm funny. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. I like to dance. I like just to have a good time. And if I can't do that, and if I have to question the person that I'm with, that there's all these questions, and even when I confront them with these questions and they really don't have an answer, or they're standing on their non-negotiables and saying, well, this is it, you take it or leave it, and then you say, okay, well, I'll take it. Then they're saying, oh, okay, wow, they're gonna settle for this, so let's see how much else they're gonna settle for. And what we don't even understand, and not to say it, not putting the blame on any woman or any man who has been betrayed, but when we lower our standards and we move that boundary line to basically give them what they want, but we are lacking in what we want, we don't understand that we even set ourselves up to be betrayed, because they're saying, well, if I can keep pushing that boundary line every time that they desire this or desire that out of me, then maybe even if I step out and have, you know, a mess up, maybe they'll forgive me, because they done push these boundary lines so far back that, hey, it's a chance. And then they go and take that chance. And then now you're stuck in the place, because now you have all these heart issues to deal with, because you done given this person your heart, you done given this person your attention, you done given this person your mind. So now you're feeling the effects of, now, what if now I have to let that all go? Am I willing to now not deal with them calling me anymore? Am I willing to deal with not hearing their voice anymore? Am I willing to deal with the effects of them, you know, not being in my presence anymore? Am I willing to go through that? And the thing that, again, like I said, is I'm not saying that people can't change. I'm not saying things can't be worked out. Sometimes it will maybe take a situation like that to happen to wake a person up to say, wow, you know what? I really messed up in this area, to the point where now, you know, I'm losing out on a good person. So I better get my shit together, because I done messed up in this area. So now I'm going to try to salvage this. And then you have to now set the tone and the precedence for how that will look moving forward. If that's something that you want to do, don't let nobody judge you based on saying, well, if I was you, I wouldn't go back to that person. If I was you, no, let that person figure out how to navigate their life, because it is their life. If they choose so, then hopefully you will choose it to go in the right way. You will choose it to basically be now how you want to see things transpire. I'm not saying that the person is going to change or not, but I'm saying if that's something that you're willing to do, then you not have to set the tone of saying, I'm no longer going to compromise on my boundaries. I'm no longer going to let you or sweet talk me into or love bomb me into believing this. Until you show and prove this and to me, then it's what to say, no bueno. So sometimes people have a lot of talk, but no action behind it. So now if they were just talk, now you have to require the action. And even if they step up to the plate with the action, there's this internal thing that we women have. I don't care how much a man talks or even sometimes what he does, but we just have this internal thing that lets us feel when something's off. And when you feel that, and I'm not saying being oversensitive, I'm not saying just being overly suspicious, because sometimes we women can do that, especially when we've been betrayed. You can get to the point where now every little thing they do, you're questioning because you don't know what to believe anymore. But if you're in that state of mind, I would say now you have to give yourself time to heal before you even get back into that situation, because you're not ready to go forth back in a relationship. You can tell them, listen, I need time because what you've done has taken really a toll on me, and I really need time to think if this relationship is worth salvaging, because I don't really right now know who you are. I don't know what to do with what you've done. All I know right now is I need time to be alone with myself so I can really understand what happened, what did I allow to happen, what was I not what was I basically not speaking up for myself about, what I wanted out of a relationship. So there's so many things that we can basically, do to make sure that we're not being blindsided again, right? So I also want to say we have to rebuild our self-worth, especially if we have low self-esteem. We have to make sure that we are, giving ourselves that love. Like only you can basically love on you. You need to be the first lover of yourself. You need to pour into yourself. I don't care. Sometimes, you need to just treat yourself to something. You need to just show up in the world as nobody can outlove me. Nobody can outlove Michelle. Nobody can outlove Michelle. Maybe God can outlove me because he can shower me with so much stuff, right? Where I'm just like, God, okay, you're just doing so much. Thank you. But as far as humanly, nobody can outlove me because I'm going to pour into myself. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to show up for Michelle each and every time, because if I don't, what's the point of me falling apart and just going about my day, just going through the effects of what has been done to me? Because yeah, I may go through that sadness, I may go through that pain, but that person is still living their life. They're still doing what they're doing. They're still probably, betraying themselves over and over again. And I'm sitting up here and now I'm just in the effects of what has been done to me, to the point where now I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't do this. And I'll say it's a big sting, especially if there's a long-term relationship, if there's years, if there's children involved. So I do understand that the process that it does take to get out of that. But I'm saying at some point, give yourself time to grieve that, because you do need to grieve that. But then make a plan of how you're going to get yourself back into the game. And just to give you an insight before I close this out, is when I was going through when my husband abandoned me. And when I mean abandoned me, I mean he just left, packed his bags and walked out the door, and that was it. And so how I would mentally prepare for that or was preparing for that is I would get up and I would go into the park every day and I would walk. And I would just get all that anxiety out. I would just walk and just listen to music as I'm walking. I would come back in the house and just try to figure out what was my next step, where me and my daughter was going to go. And just trying to take each day, each moment as it came, not thinking too far in the future, because we can overwhelm ourselves with that by thinking of, oh, tomorrow, what's going to happen? No, today is the day that I am in. So today is the day that I have to take care of myself. So I would make sure that I was taking care of myself. I would listen and look or at a lot of comedy shows, a lot of things that would make me laugh. I wouldn't listen to any sad romantic music that would bring back up old memories. I wouldn't look at romantic movies. I didn't want to see nothing around that, because I had to understand that I was still in that stage of grieving. I was vulnerable. I was in pain. So I didn't want to view something else that would bring me pain. I didn't want to listen to podcasts that were talking about relationships and betrayal and narcissism. Why? Because I've been through that. Why would I want to keep putting that in my spirit? So I had to basically move to the point of where I started putting stuff in my spirit that made me wanted to get to the next place in my life, that the lifestyle that I wanted to live, the things that I wanted to have in my life, the laughter, the peace, the joy, going certain places, doing certain things. So that's my encouragement to you. If you're going through a hard time, if you're going through something that has happened in your relationship, then you need to basically start journaling, start really getting more into your stuff, start reading books that's going to help you get out of that mindset, get out of that place so you don't sabotage yourself, so you don't repeat that cycle of attracting that same partner. Please stop listening to podcasts about toxic relationships and narcissism, because all it does is basically put you in the vibration to attract that same person. Instead, start listening to podcasts of being in your feminine energy. Start listening to podcasts that make you elevate to, this high value woman, a successful woman, or, creative woman. So this way, this is what you want. And then guess what? You will attract the people who now are on that same level, on that vibrational level. So I have a guide that's going to come out. It's going to be low cost. It's going to help you to get through these things that I've spoken about, especially on the relationship side. So if this is something you're interested in, I'll let you know when all of that is prepared. So I will drop the link so you can go ahead and purchase that. It's going to be a low cost, maybe like $7. So this way you can go through these tips. You can basically go through it. I may put a little something else in there. I don't know yet. So just bear with me, but I'm going to make sure that you have that resource. So this way you can also come back to the video, but I think the guide is going to take you step by step through it. It's going to ask you questions. It's going to have journaling prompts. So this way you can basically heal yourself so you can heal and thrive in life and business. So have a great day, and I'll be with you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.